Go to page 121 in grammar, 121. You're going to notice it's kind of a practice page. We're going to be writing on this page. It's review, page 121. Okay, we already know about coordinating conjunctions. Those are the fanboys words. You guys are familiar with those. You've been marking those. So this is finding those fanboy words and then looking for different parts of the sentence to determine if it needs a paragraph. I mean, a paragraph. No, if it needs a comma. I don't know where paragraph came from, but okay, so we're looking for commas here. That's what we're doing. So it says, oh, let me jump up here. The coordinating conjunction connects the same type of words, phrases, or clauses. We know that. Read each sentence and decide what the coordinating conjunction connects. So we'll find that first, the fanboys word. If the coordinating conjunction connects main clauses, insert a comma. If the coordinating conjunction connects three items in a series, insert commas, and then circle the correct comma rule pattern. So I'll do the first one so you know how we're going to do this, and then you guys are going to take turns with these sentences. So the first one says, Robin lost the fight, for he was thinking about a lovely maiden. So our coordinating conjunction in this sentence is for. And so I'm going to just put CC on top of that. I want you to write that too on yours. So that's the best way to do this is find that first. That's the fanboys word. And then we're going to look at the parts of the sentence and decide what pattern it follows. So the first part says Robin lost the fight. That is a main clause because it is a complete thought. So I'm just going to mark it with brackets here. And then we've got the CC. And then after that, we have another subject, he, and was thinking. So we have a subject verb here. He was thinking about a lovely maiden. That is another main clause. So this is connecting two main clauses, and here's the pattern. MC, comma, CC, MC, because these others don't fit this. So this is the answer right here. But notice there's a comma rule, and we need to put it between fight and for. So that's how we're going to do this. We're going to look for that CC first. We're going to mark the sentence. What do we think it's connecting? And then choose the pattern and then put in a comma if we need to. Okay. So Christian, go ahead and do the next one. Go ahead and read the sentence first.
Maid Marian was a noblewoman and lived in a castle.
Okay, good. And where's the CC? And let's mark that first. We've got Maid Marian was a nobleman. Is that a main clause?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we can mark that. And then do we have a main clause on this side?
No.
In a castle? No. Okay, but we do have a verb, lived. So what pattern is that going to follow?
Main clause, coordinating conjunction, second verb.
Yes, this one right here. Because this side doesn't have a subject, you're right. It's just connecting the main clause to another verb. And guess what? There's no commas in that one, so we can just leave that. Okay, so Grayson, go ahead and read the next sentence.
She had bright eyes and a warm smile.
Okay, good. What's the fanboy's word?
And
And. And we do have she had bright eyes. That is a main clause, but we're describing her here. So what do you think this is connecting here?
A and B.
Yes, because we have her eyes and her smile. Those are both nouns, actually. So you're right. A and B, it's connecting two nouns, her eyes and smile. Even though it has some adjectives in there, it's just connecting those two things. So good. And there's no comma for that. So Zach, go ahead and read this sentence here.
She could ride, skillfully climb trees, and shoot an arrow straight.
Okay. What's the CC?
And
Good. And what are we connecting here?
3, A, B, and C.
Yes, good. We're talking about, I'm just going to mark them with a V for verbs. So we have ride skillfully,
Trees.
climb trees, shoot. So she's ride, climb, and shoot. So you're right, A, B, and C. Where do those commas go?
After, after skillfully, after, and after trees.
And after trees. Very good. Nice job. Okay, back to Christian on the next sentence. Go ahead and read that sentence.
Maid Marian was courageous and loyal to the men of Sherwood Forest.
Good. What's the CC?
And
Good. What is it connecting?
loyal
Yep.
to the men of Sherwood Forest.
It's connecting to, oops, not ADV. It's ADJ. It's the adjective loyal and the adjective courageous, actually. It's connecting courageous and loyal. It's telling two adjectives about her. So what pattern is that?
A and B.
A and B, good, yes. Just connecting those two adjectives. Good. Okay. Let's see. Grayson, next one.
Maid Marian hated thievery, but she pitied the poor.
Good. What's the CC?
But
Good. And what do you think it's connecting?
A and B.
Actually, no, it's got two subjects on either side. So we've got some main clauses here. Because Maid Marian hated thievery, that's one thought. And then she pitied the poor. Because it has the subject she, it's going to be two main clauses.
So MC.
Yes, good. And so we do need a comma. Where does that comma go?
After thievery.
Good. Yep, you got it. Good job. And then Zach, that next one.
She was known for her beauty, bravery, and boldness.
Good. What's the CC?
And
Good. And what is the pattern? Do you see it there?
A, B, and C.
Yeah, good. A, B, and C. So where does the comma go?
Beauty and bravery.
Good. Awesome. I think you had that one last time, the A, B, and C. Okay, and then Christian, the last one.
Later, she married Robin Hood and joined him in Sherwood Forest.
Okay, good. What's the CC?
And
Okay, and what is it connecting? What two parts?
Robin Hood and joined.
Well, Robin Hood's a noun and joined is a verb. So no, it's not going to connect a noun and a verb. It's got to be the different pattern there. Later, she married Robin Hood. That would be considered a main clause. And then what do we have on this side?
On this side, it's joined him in Sherwood Forest. That's not a main clause.
Good. Right.
Joined is a verb.
Good.
And married is a verb.
Married is a verb. That's okay because that's in the main clause. So we got a main clause and then we have another verb. So what pattern is that?
A, B, A and B?
No.
No,
Oh, you're
MC,
thinking.
MCCC and second verb.
Yeah, there you go. You got it. Yeah, I see why you were thinking A and B. You're thinking married and joined, but this is a main clause. Later, he married Robin Hood and then joined. Yeah. Well, you're right. It does connect married and joined too, but it's a main clause though. That's the difference right here. If it said later she married and joined him, or later she married and joined Robin Hood in Sherwood Forest, that might be a little bit different. But because this is a complete thought right here. Good job, you guys. Okay, we're going to move on to the next page. This is the practice page, the actual practice page. Does anybody feel like reading it this morning? Thank you, Grayson.
Although both were wounded, the battle continued. Finally, Robin delivered a mighty blow which struck his opponent's ribs.
Good. Okay. Delivered is the vocabulary word. And when we're talking about delivering a mighty blow, that's like either a punch or a kick or a hitting somebody with something. So it's an action word. Get my thing figured out here. It's a verb. To strike or struck or through, basically, is what delivered means. And the blow, we've talked about that one before, is basically like, I'm thinking they're punching each other. Yeah, that's what's going on. It's a big fight. Okay, so we got 2 articles. Go ahead and find those. And then, Zach, when you're ready, how about the 4 nouns? There's 4 nouns in here.
Robin
Good.
is both one.
No, that's actually going to be a pronoun. If it's referring to some other people.
Opponent
Opponent.
is.
Actually, opponents is going to be an adjective. Normally it would be, but we need to, before you go on, hold on a second, Zach. Put an apostrophe here because the ribs belong to the opponent. So which one of those words is going to be the noun?
Ribs.
Ribs. There you go. So we got Robin, ribs. What else?
Battle.
Battle. And then one more.
And is blow one?
Yes, it sounds weird because it sounds like it could be a verb, but because it's a mighty blow, you're right, that's a noun. Very good. Pronoun, Christian. I kind of said it already.
His,
No, that's going to be an adjective telling whose ribs.
both.
There you go. Both is the pronoun. Good job. And then the adjectives, Grayson.
Opponent,
Mm-hmm.
mighty,
Good.
his.
Yes, and his. Because the adjective, just to remind you guys, tells which one or how many or what kind and or whose actually. So it's telling whose, his ribs. Good. There is one adverb. Zach, where's the adverb? That's going to be the ly.
Finally.
Yes, there you go. So we're going to label that adv for adverb. Which clause, Christian?
Which struck his opponent's ribs.
Good. W/W on that. Adverb clause, Grayson, that's the www.asia.
Although both were wounded.
Good. Nice. And then there's 2 main clauses. Zach, do you see where those are?
Although both were wounded.
That's the, oops, we forgot to label that. That's the adverb clause. So not that one. It's going to be after that.
Robin delivered a mighty blow.
That's one, yep. Oops, I didn't put this in the right spot. Sorry, guys. This needs to go around which. Hello. Like that. Robin delivered a mighty blow. That's one. There's one more main clause in there.
The battle continued.
Yes, very good. Nice job. Okay. And now subject verb. So Christian, what about those verbs? I'll tell you there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verbs in here.
Were, wounded,
Good.
struck, continued,
Struck, continued.
delivered.
Good. That's it. were wounded, continued, delivered, and struck. And the subjects that go with those, Grayson, so tell us who's doing these things here.
Both.
Okay.
Battle.
Battle, good. The battle continued.
Robin.
Robin delivered.
Blow.
This
No, opponents. Or no, it's ribs.
no. The verb is struck. So it's actually in a who which clause, the subject is always who or which. That's the tricky one because it doesn't sound like a person. But the subject is which inside of a who which clause. So which struck. Those go together. Okay. Two different openers. Zach, what's the first opener here?
Is it a adverb opener?
It is. It's called a clausal. Do you remember what number that is?
That's number 3, right?
Actually, number 5.
Oh.
Number
I don't
5.
think I was here for 5.
Oh, yeah. Number 3 is the ly adverb opener. So 5 is clausal. And then what about this one that starts with finally?
Isn't that the same thing?
So no, it actually, this is an adverb. Maybe you were talking about this one a minute ago, but the ly adverb is this opener. So that is a number 3. The clausal opener, remember the Asia words, www.asia?
Yeah.
So although,
As if, although, because.
yeah, and although is a clausal, that's what that's considered, a clausal opener. This is just an ly adverb opener. So there's a little difference there. That's good. I'm glad you know what those Asia words are. Indent, we're just going to put the paragraph symbol there at the beginning. You guys can find the capitals. That's pretty easy. Oh, well, we need an extra period in here. That's what we're missing. Christian, do you know where the 2 end marks go?
After continued
Yes.
and after ribs.
Yes. So that means finally needs a capital. Robin needs a capital. Got the end marks, got the apostrophe. We just have a comma rule. So Grayson, do you know what we need to do about the comma?
Take out the comma by blow.
Nope, that one actually stays because it's before the who which clause, so that stays.
Take out the one by finally.
That stays too. So we're gonna have to insert one. We need a comma.
Both were wounded before wound or after wounded.
After wounded, yep. Because the rule says whenever you have an adverb clause first and then a main clause, that's where the comma goes. That's the rule. If it was the other way around, if the main clause came first, then you don't use a comma for that. But okay. Good job, you guys. That's it for grammar. Okay. So last week you guys worked on your troglobites, but I did notice that some students turned in their coconut crabs. It was a little late, but that's okay. Does anybody want to read their coconut crab report? Because I don't know if everybody had a chance to read that one. Anybody feel like reading that? Otherwise, we'll just keep going. Do you want to read yours, Christian or Zach? Okay, that's all right. Just want to give you an opportunity. One of these days, I will have you read your paper, but I will let you know ahead of time before class. I'll message your mom or something and say, okay, I need you to read. I need your student to read, but not today. You don't have to today. Okay. Get out everything you have for troglobites. We're going to keep working on that one today. And I do want to go over with you that tan page because we didn't really get to talk much yet about the opener. So it's the tan page 137. I want you to look at that one with me real quick first before we go into the other stuff. This is a new opener that is now on your checklist, and I'm just going to remind you that your checklist is super, super, super important for your homework. It's really what I use to grade your homework. So make sure you use your checklist. It's super important that you remember that. On your checklist, and we're going to talk about this, your checklist has the new sentence opener. It's right under the dress ups here. So we have all these dress ups. You have ly adverb, who, which clause, strong verb, because clause, quality adjective, and you have your Asia word. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All 6 dress ups have to be in each paragraph. And then you have this new one here, the prepositional opener. And the good news is you know what that is because you've been finding it in grammar. So this should be pretty easy for you. So I want to go through this page. It says number 2 prepositional opener, and it is a number 2 in your grammar books too. You usually do a 2 with a circle around it when you label it. But for your writing, you're going to label it a little bit different. You're going to use brackets like this. So it says the prepositional opener is a prepositional phrase placed at the beginning of a sentence. And here's how I want you to mark it. You're not going to underline it. You're not going to highlight it or bold it. You're going to put a 2 with brackets. And that is on your keyboard right above the return button or enter. It should be kind of right in that area, right above that, if you look at your keyboard. You do not have to hit shift when you do it. That gives you a different type of a bracket. You want the square bracket, like this. And you're going to have a bracket with a 2 to start it off. And here's a sample sentence. Despite a lengthy childhood sickness, Teddy Roosevelt enjoyed a life of activity and adventure. So that word despite is a preposition. And at the bottom of this page, they give you a handy dandy list here. You also have a list in your grammar book. So you can use either one. They're the same list. But if you look under the D's right here, you see that word despite. That is a preposition, and that begins a prepositional phrase. The phrase is, despite a lengthy childhood sickness. That's the phrase. So that's why you're going to pick one sentence in each paragraph to start with one of these prepositions. And you're going to mark it with a number 2. And look at the second example. It says, in 1901, Teddy Roosevelt became the youngest president in the nation's history. So that word in is also on this list. If you look under the I's, where is it? Right here, second column, almost to the bottom. In, that's a preposition. And you can use it with a date like that. That works. Just mark it with a 2 with a bracket, okay? That's how you mark it. And then it's explaining that here on these steps under notice. A prepositional phrase begins with a preposition and contains at least 2 words. They're not going to be a verb though, because that's different. So remember, I've been telling you that the difference between clauses and phrases, a clause like a who, which clause, or a that clause, or an adverb clause, all those clauses have subject and verb pair. The prepositional phrase is different. The phrase does not have a verb in it. It's going to have a preposition and then a couple more words that are not verbs. Okay, and then it says a prepositional phrase ends with a noun. Sometimes a pronoun, most of the time it's a noun. A prepositional phrase never contains a verb. There might be other words between the preposition and the noun, but there is never a verb in a prepositional phrase. Number 3, to indicate that a sentence begins with a prepositional opener, label it with a 2, and then it says here in the left margin, or I want you to do this one. Don't worry about the left margin. Do the one right here with the bracket right before the sentence. That's how I want to see it. It's easier that way when you're typing it. And then there's a comma rule. If the prepositional phrase has 5 words or more, follow it with a comma. A comma is optional, but usually not recommended with shorter phrases. So if you look back up at these 2 examples up here, The first one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words and a comma after that opener. This one, the second example just says in 1901. That's the end of that phrase. It's only basically one word and a number. So there's no comma here for that. So when you're writing it, you can do it either way. If you have a long prepositional phrase opener, if it has 5 or more words, then stick a comma in there. If it's a short one, then no comma. All right, that's what I'm looking for now. When you use your checklist and you see here this prepositional phrase, that's what I'm looking for. And you're going to use it. It gives you an example with the 2 with the bracket right before it. And you need 1 in paragraph 1, you need 1 in paragraph 2, and you need 1 in paragraph 3. Do you guys have any questions about that opener? Okay. Or any questions about this checklist? No? Okay. All right, then. So this is, make sure you use this when you sit down to do your homework. This is how I grade it. Okay. And just a reminder, if you don't get 10 points on your homework, that means you are missing something, or you, excuse me, or you accidentally used a banned word or something like that. I always tell you in the comments what you need to fix. And then I give you a second chance to go fix it and turn it back in, because your goal is 10 points every time. Okay. I really want you guys to really work at getting 10 points every time, because that's going to make you a better writer if you fix it. If I find something that you need to fix, then you're not going to make that same mistake next time. So it's important to fix it. All right, now let's get out our big white page that you've been working on for your keyword outline. Okay, so this was for Roman numeral 1. You guys filled that in. That was part of your homework last week. And you were talking about the general information about the troglodytes. So remember, the process is to find that paragraph that matches this article. Remember, we have 3 articles, A, B, and C. And you guys chose, we did general at the first paragraph, and you looked for that paragraph for Article A, you looked for it on Article B and Article C. And then from here, you combined those into a fused outline, and then you use that for your paragraph. You already wrote about the general information, so we can just draw a line through that. We already used that. And the nice thing about these articles is they all have the information on each one of these types of troglodytes. So I'm going to leave it up to you guys to figure out which ones you want to write about for paragraph 2. We're going to start with that one, paragraph 2. And you can just put in the chat, either put which one you want to pick. You want to do WCCF, which is the waterfall climbing cavefish. You want to write about the ulm next, or you want to write about CDRS, and that's the cave dwelling rat snake. Go ahead and put in the chat what you want to write about for your second paragraph. This is ultimately going to be a 3-paragraph report, and you already did 1, so you need 2 more, but we're just focus on the next one. Okay, so Grayson's picking the WCCF, the waterfall climbing cavefish, and it looks like Zach is choosing Ulm, and Christian, you're going to do the WCCF too. Okay, so that's good. Let's turn this over to the back, and let's set up for Roman numeral 2. I know this seems like a tedious process, and it feels like it's a lot of work. But honestly, just ignore that. Honestly, this is giving you a foundation to write this type of a paper. And even though it seems tedious, it takes away the wondering, like, what am I going to write about? Well, this helps you. I know it's a process, but it's a good thing to learn. Okay, so under A, again, we're going to do Roman numeral 2. This is going to be 1 through 5, like we did before. And 4 and 5 are in parentheses, okay? All of these are going to be Roman numeral 2. So go ahead and set this up here. 1 through 5. Roman numeral 2 again. 1 through 5. And then your fused outline here. This one has 1 through 7, so it's still going to be Roman numeral 2, 1 through 7. 7 has parentheses, and go ahead and write that word clincher here, just to remind you that you need to make sure to include that in your paragraph. Okay, thumbs up when you got that done. Okay. Zach, you're good? You got that down? Okay. Okay, good. Now, the pattern for your topic, which is what we write next to the Roman numeral here, this is where your topic goes. The pattern for that is to first write the subject. So your subject is actually troglobites, comma, and then this is where you guys picked your topic. So I think Christian and Grayson had the WCCF. And I think Zach picked Ulm. So whatever your topic is, go ahead and write that here. So you're just going to have troglobites, comma, and then whatever one you're going to write about next, put here. And do that next to each Roman numeral, comma, blank, whichever one you picked. Troglobites, comma, blank. And then for your fused, troglobites, comma, blank, comma, blank. On your fused later, well, you're going to have your subject troglobites and then whichever one you picked, Ulm or WCCF, and then one more word about it, which you'll have to figure that out later, okay? But this is going to keep you super focused on whichever troglobite you're picking. From here, you're going to start with A. I'm going to give you time in class to work on this, okay? You're going to start with Article A, which is this one. My notes are gone because I erased them, but you should have a big A on top here. And then only go to the paragraph that talks about the troglobite that you're writing about. Only read that one, that paragraph. And then I want you to find facts that you want to put in your paper, or at least put on your keyword outline and list the keywords here for each fact, okay? You're going to do that for A and B and C. So I'm going to give you some time to work by yourself for a minute. If you have any questions, I'm right here. You can ask me, and then I'll check in on you in a couple minutes. So go ahead and look back on, start with A, get at least 3 facts down. keep in mind when you guys are looking at B and C, find different facts because you're going to notice that each article has a lot of the same facts listed. So you're going to look for something different than you already put down. But it has to be about that troglodyte only. Do you have a question, Christian?
No, I finished.
You got A done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on to B now. And when you're looking in B, go ahead and look for something different than what you put in A. But still about the WCCF, though. Go to that paragraph. Grayson, how's yours coming along? Are you finished with A?
Yeah, I'm on the C now.
Oh, you're on the C. Okay, good. How about you, Zach? How's yours coming? What one are you on?
B.
B. Okay, good. Good job, you guys. You got done with B, Zach?
I'm finished with B and C.
B and C. Okay, cool. How about you tell me, what did you get for your facts under each one?
So for A, they occur in 5 countries. Number 2, they're eyeless and colorless, and they're stidiobites, which means they're 100% troglodytic.
Okay.
For B, I got they're completely aquatic. They breathe, eat, and sleep underwater, and their length varies from 8 to 12 inches, and they weigh about the same as a deck of cards.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And for C, I got when it rains, it kind of pushes them to the surface sometimes. They were the first like troglobite to be found,
Okay.
and they're kind of serpent looking, and they have a flat wedged head.
And for each one of those, you stuck to just 3 keywords, but then you probably use symbols and things with it. Okay, good. And you wrote about the Ulm, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, good. Nice job, Zach. How about you, Christian? What did you get for your facts?
Waterfall climbing cavefish has no eyes and is colorless.
Okay.
Climbs up steep rocks with waterfalls
Okay.
cascading down on them. They've been found in 8 caves in Thailand. Their fins have barbs which allow them to climb waterfalls. They feed on algae and other organisms. They've adapted to their dark caves.
Good. Okay.
They survive in pitch blackness, and their scales are useless because they don't have scales because they're useless with no predators. And their cave demands more to survive. I just used that because I couldn't find anything else.
So it's something about the scales. They don't need them. They're useless because they don't have predators. Is that true about the scales? Oh, interesting. You found that in C?
Yeah, that was C.
Oh, the scales are counterproductive. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, interesting stuff. Okay, Grayson, what did you get for your facts?
For A, I did creatures found in 8 caves.
Okay.
It has no eyes. Climbs rocks, like steep rocks, while down. For B, I did climbs salamander, unusual fins.
Mm-hmm.
Likes algae and it like eats algae and or other little organisms.
Okay.
And its skin has no color.
Good.
For C, I did no scales because it's hard for them to climb up the waterfalls. Scales are not important,
Okay.
and nature has allowed like the scales to disappear.
Yeah. Okay. Good. You guys did great. So we're going to pause on that one. And later, you're going to work on the fused outline, which means you're going to think about what order you want to talk about these types of troglobites, mentioning their size, their color, and then going into features about it. So try to group together what makes sense in a logical order on how you're going to actually write about these guys. And that's what you're going to choose for your fuse down here. But I want to make sure we have time to get into the third topic. So you're going to need a new piece of line or new piece of white paper, actually. So hopefully you have some more in the back of your binder. Let me grab mine. If you don't have any more, you can use a regular piece of printing paper. You just have to write really, really small. Hopefully you have the big pages left. So let's set up one more for Roman numeral 3 on this. Remember the first step is to fold it. I call it the taco fold this way first. Oops, hold on. This way first. Go ahead and make that fold. This. And then from here, it's in thirds. So you lay it down and go past the middle and then the other side on top of that. And then it kind of makes a square after you're done folding those two sides over. Two ends over. Yep, you got it, Christian. That's good. Oh yeah, you got a small one. So you must be able to write pretty small, Grayson. That's good. Then you're gonna open it. You got it, Zach? I think you had it. Open it up. So you have you have 1, 2, 3. You're gonna ignore that middle crease. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now you're gonna go ahead and label the top A, B, and C again. And this is gonna be Roman numeral 3. Roman numeral 3. 1 through 5, and 4 and 5 are optional again. Oh, here, let me share my screen. Sorry, guys. I think you probably know how to do it now. We've done a bunch of these. So A, it's going to be Roman numeral 3, 1 through 5. So 4 and 5 in parentheses. Same for B. And C. I know we're doing this kind of fast, but try your best to keep everything lined up in a nice, neat way here. It's going to be easier to look at later. And then the fused outline. And that one's going to be Roman numeral 3 as well. And then 1 through 7. And a clincher. While you're working on setting this up, just a quick reminder, this is a technique you can use in any writing assignment you have, especially if it's something about research and you have different sources to look at. So sometimes you might get an assignment in history to write about a president or a war or a country or something like that. So just remember, you can use this technique in any research style paper that you write. It's going to help you a lot. Okay, so after you get Roman numeral 3 set up, now you're going to pick your third topic. So you're going to pick a different troglodyte. If you already wrote about Ulm, you'll pick one of the others. If you already wrote about WCCF, pick one of the others. So go ahead and pick which one you want to do for your third paragraph and put it in the chat. And by the way, we're abbreviating these because they're long, but when you go to write your actual paragraph from your fused, make sure you write it out. Don't just tell me WCCF. I want you to write about waterfall, climbing, cave, fish. Make sure you have the whole title written out in your paragraph. So go ahead and pick a different troglodyte. Okay, I'm seeing it now in the chat here. Okay, Christian's going to do Ulm, Zach's going to do a WCCF, and Grayson's going to do the snake. So you guys are all going to do different ones there. So whichever topic you pick, start with the subject, which is troglodytes, comma, and then your topic, whichever one you're going to write about next, put it next to that. Same on this one, troglodytes, comma, blank. And then your fused is going to be troglodytes, comma, whatever one you're writing about, and then one more word here to introduce that particular one. So it's okay to use the abbreviations in your outline because these are just your notes. But like I said, when you get to the point where you're all done, you got your fused ready to go, when you write your paragraph, do not just put the letters WCCF. You need to actually tell me what they are, spell it out through the whole paper. And you can shorten it by saying the climbing fish later. But when you introduce it, it needs to say the waterfall climbing cave fish. And then once you got your outlines all set up, I'm going to give you time right now to work on those. Make sure you go to only the paragraphs that address that troglodyte. Make sure you stay on that, only that paragraph. And then find different facts from each article, A, B, and C. So I'm going to give you some time to work on this one, get it going here. Let me know if you have any questions or you need help. It's a lot of organizing. It's very tedious. I realize that, but this is how research goes, and it's good to be organized like this. So I like to see you working, moving papers. You're looking at make sure the article matches the outline you're working on, and you're going to that paragraph that you're going to write about for that troglodyte, and then find some facts in there, different facts for each one. You have a question, Zach, or no? Okay. Okay, go ahead and finish the number that you're on, and then I'm going to talk to you about one more thing before you go. So finish up the one you're on, the fact that you're on. Okay. Um, just a reminder about the fused. It's really important that you group together facts that make sense to flow together. Sometimes when we copy things from A, B, and C, it can be a little choppy. So I just want to make sure to remind you about that. Keeping things together, like if you're going to talk about the eyes and the scales and maybe the size of it, those would group together. If you're talking about where they're located, like what does it look like in the cave, those would be grouped together so that you're not jumping back and forth between facts. Okay. So when you're copying, think about that when you copy it here. And then, so your assignment this week is to do paragraphs 2 and 3. So you're going to finish up your research here, looking at each article, coming up with your fused, and using only your fused to write your 2 paragraphs for Roman numeral 2 and Roman numeral 3. And then don't forget the checklist. Super, super, super important. I want you to physically check off as you finish them so you can keep track, that you make sure you have it in your paper. This is really important for your grading, for the grade that I give you. Okay. Any last minute questions before you guys go? No? Okay, keep all this in your front pocket. And then I'll see you next week. Have a good week, you guys. You did great
Bye-bye.
today. Bye. Have a good one.
Right.
Bye, you guys.